Alright, welcome back to the workshop, everybody. Thanks again for joining for another episode of Workshop Shenanigans. Today I've got a couple of repairs on the menu. So one being a little, what used to be a flame effect heater. The other one being a TV from a friend of mine. So we'll get into both of those and see what we can do. So I have this heater. It's a little bit sketchy. So this is a, what are they called? A flame effect heater that I've taken the flame effect bit off. For those of you that don't know what one of those is, I'll flash a picture up about now, and so now you'll see what it looks like. So yeah, basically what it does is it's just got a light, a globe in here on this upper part that then has some reflective foil parts spinning on a shaft, and it makes it look like on a background, and then it makes it look like a flame in a fire. So I've taken all that off because I just wanted the heater. So this was super sketchy before because I had the 240 coming in just over the top as a sort of a exposed cable here actually, and there was cable hanging out everywhere. So I've slightly de-sketched it to the point where, well, I've just at least hidden where the cable actually comes from. So you know, at least it's all under there. So I just used it in my bathroom as a heater for you know, just keeping the bathroom a little bit warmer for a brief moment. So what I decided to do, was put it all sort of hidden in here. I've only got it on the low setting rather than the high setting, and so I just made up this piece of wood cover and sort of put everything inside. So I worked all right for a little while, and now all of a sudden, from what I could tell the other day, the fan suddenly stopped spinning. So I'm just going to pull it apart and see if the fan's actually blown or if the cables have just moved and are now squishing the cables or whatever's going on inside. So we'll just quickly rip the top off and have a look. Because all I could smell was it getting suddenly very, very hot, and it didn't sound like the fan was spinning anymore. So I guess I better do the obligatory plug it in, turn it on, see what it does. And yep, the fan isn't spinning. So have I just lost the cable here? I guess I'll have to pull this out and check it. It's always the way. Leave it open and exposed like this, because this is exactly how it was for many years, and it was quite fine. The instant I try and semi do something properly, it decides then that's when it's going to want to fail on me. So it may have already fused out on me. I guess that's what we'll find out. Okay, so this looks like the spare, not the spare, this looks like the other heater cable. These probably the ones from the switch originally. But the fan definitely looks like it's hooked up. So I'll just whack it in again and see if the light comes on in the heater there. No, I think she fused out on me. So there's a thermal fuse in here. I would say that's probably blown on me. It definitely looks like it's gone. Yep. So that's coming in from the cable. That's hitting the fuse, and then the other side is definitely open. Okay, so I do have a spare somewhere. Okay, so I found these that I bought for the mixer that I've repaired. I'll try and remember to link that down below for anyone who's interested to go and have a look at that one. That was a fun little repair. So I don't know what this one's actually rated for. These ones are 125 degrees. It'll certainly at least tell me what's going on. So I'll just figure out how I'm going to put this in. I'll just see if I can undo this. So in there's a well, it looks like a crimped connector, so I'll see if I can just uncrimp that, and then that's been riveted, so maybe I'll see if I can just rivet a new one in there. So it looks like what they've done is they've fed the cable from the component in and then back around, and then they've crimped the whole thing together. So I'm just going to try and undo that and re-crimp it. There we go. So I think I'll just fold this over, put that in there, and clip that back over. There we go, that's not coming out. Not sure what sort of connector that is. I'm just going to try and push this component through there, and then we'll wrap it up. Okay, definitely not pretty, but at least it'll tell me if the fan's working and if the rest of the heater's going to work. Okay, well that's definitely working again. I'm not quite sure what happened there. The only thing I can think of is that these cables had moved and somehow jammed the fan up. So I shall rewrap them a little more carefully and see what happens, I guess. So what I'll also do is just trim this one down because it's obviously miles too long, and if I'm trying to neat it up, then I should trim these as well. So this one's just connecting live to the lower heat setting because it's got two heat settings. That other black cable that I've just hidden is the high heat setting one, so I'm always only going to use this on low. Right, give it another quick spin. It's always made that noise ever since I've ever had it. It's obviously the fan's just not quite aligned properly. That seems to be going again. So this great big black thing behind me is a Samsung good old plasma TV. It's a 51-inch. So it has the it's got a power fault, so it starts up and then shuts down. There is a way to turn it on and force it to turn on to prove whether the power supply is the problem or whether something else in the TV is the problem. Generally in these old things, it'll probably be, so it'll be the lights behind the screen. So we'll see if that's the case, if we can prove it one way or another. But basically all I'm going to do at the moment is just take the back off and see if I can get the power supply to start up, and then we'll see what happens from there. So let's get into it and see what we can do. So hopefully there's the base down here for it to stand up on. Sometimes they put the cover of the TV in behind it, so I might have to take it off. I hope not, because it's a pain, because then I've got to take the TV off the stand. I'd rather leave it on the stand, but we'll see. Okay, well that's relief, because you can see the cover's almost off now. Just got 2 more screws to go. At least I don't have to take the stand off. Alright, so I've just done a quick visual inspection. There's no obvious smoke holes where the smoke's been let out, so we'll move on to seeing if I can actually get the power supply to fire up. So for those that are interested, there's the instructions to do it. The model number is in the description there, so I won't read it out. It's a P51 something or other. So it says to disconnect the logic mainboard from the power supply, so that's this one here. That's the main board there. So I'll just unplug that from the power supply, and I'm assuming that's where the pumps will go. Yep, so it talks about putting the PS on, which is the power supply on connector, to ground. So the power supply on is at the very top of this plug here, and then there's a ground somewhere that I'll just hook that up to. And there's a couple of grounds in there. Okay, so as you can see, I've got power going into the TV here, and I've got the jumper wire just here. You might not be able to see it. It's a purple wire just going between the power supply on pin and the ground pin as per the instructions. So now we'll just fire it up and see if it comes up or goes bang. Okay, well that's clicked on quite happily, so power supply is not the problem. It's kind of good, but kind of bad, because power supplies I can get, don't know about anything else. So it looks like we might be looking for a logic board on this one. Let's just pull this back together. Okay, well the silly thing's actually decided it wants to work now. So I guess I might just have to leave it sitting there and see what happens after a little while. That'll get a bit warm and we'll see what happens and I'll come back. Alright, so the heater works okay. The only problem with it is that there's not enough airflow going in where I've drilled the holes. So it blew another of those thermal fuses because the whole heater element's actually glowing. So that's obviously why it gets too hot. So basically I'm just going to cut another bigger hole in the back of it so that it can take more air in. So that'll be that one. And the TV seems to be working okay. So I'm just going to leave it on the bench for a little while and just make sure it behaves for another few days, and then I'll put the back on it and ship it back out. I can only assume that maybe it took a power surge and it just scrambled the processor for a little while, and it just needed to be powered off and left off for a little while, because sometimes that's all those sort of things need. So yeah, we'll just test it for a little bit longer and ship it out. So thanks for watching the shenanigans in the workshop again. Don't forget to hit the the likes and the subscribes and share it with your mates. And I'll catch you in the next one. Have a great day.